Hey guys, in this video, we're going to talk about isolation. We're going to talk about separations. We're going to talk about wilderness seasons. We're going to talk about why God allows these seasons in our life, okay? And how to get through it, because it can be tough. And a lot of times we struggle in these seasons because we lack understanding. And so I want to give some insights and shed some wisdom and understanding on how to get through your season of isolation and get through this separation that you're going through and understand it. So when God is about to elevate you or just take you to the next place that he desires for you to be in him, whatever that looks like, there is always going to be a pruning. This happens for everyone, right? God's going to show you people that you have to cut off, okay? They have to get cut because not only is it that not everybody can go with you, but there are people that are, without you realizing or understanding, they're in opposition with what God is doing on the inside of you. So there's a period in this season, especially when you're transitioning into this isolation season. It's a season where you need to be silent, okay? There's a season where you need to not let everybody know what your plans are. I honestly don't think you should ever really let anyone know what your major plans are. But more than ever, when you are transitioning into a certain next level of your life, keep it quiet as much as you can. And don't let everybody know your next plans. I say this because not everybody has to be your enemy, right? However, there are those who, like I said, are in opposition with what God is doing on the inside of you. Okay. This was something that God broke down with me, specifically, right? I was aware of individuals, pretty much their heart towards me without me even realizing it. And, it's a shocker. It really does, bring you to a place of just reverence and fear of the Lord, because God will show you what's on the hearts of those who are really acting like they're your friends, or they're rocking with you, but really show what they're dealing with, right? It's not for me to feel afraid. It's not for you to feel afraid. It's not for you to hurt either. It does hurt when things are being rearranged. You're going to feel the shift. You're going to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm losing so many people. But divine separation ultimately is for your protection, because this is all at the root of it. It's all spiritual warfare. Okay. And when you're fasting, when you're going higher, when you're doing anything that is bringing you closer to wherever God is leading you, it's going to be warfare. So that's the time where the enemy likes to launch attacks. So he will use people. It doesn't matter who it is, but whoever has an open door to be used in such a way, he'll use those people. Right. Also, too, you got to understand that there's people that carry monitoring spirits, all types of things going on spiritually, that you got to be very careful who you're, just communicating with during certain seasons. So while you're in the isolation, this is not the end of the road. And one of the things that you need to understand is that isolation is not a forever season either. There is something that God typically is revealing to you during this time, right? Think of it as a time to lay low. It's a time to get in the classroom, really, honestly, because it is a time of testing, right? God's teaching you something. He's showing you something. He's going to be revealing things to you. There's instruction that's given. You would have to remain at his feet. So in this season, it may look like you might be waking up at certain hours, like, it's different watches, right? From the hours of like 12 to 4 a.m. You might be waking up at the same time, right? You need to wake up and pray, wake up and worship, wake up and meditate, because things are being revealed, right? He's calling you to meet him, right? What else could it look like? There's some instructions that he could give you through dreams. He could also be leading you to maybe leave your job, leave your home, move to a new area. There are different things that God does during this time of isolation. Again, not to keep you away from the world, but so that he can speak to you, right? It tends to be like a wilderness. It can feel like a dry season. Your phone is dry. You kind of feel like you're on airplane mode, but don't despise it, because just like being on airplane mode, right? When you're on an airplane, right? And you have to put your phone on airplane mode, like a do not disturb. It's because you're about to take off. Think of it in that sense, right? The plane is about to take off. So you're going to have to put your phone on airplane mode. This is the time between you and the Lord. And we want to get it right. Okay. We want to be obedient to what God is saying. We don't want to veer to the left. We don't want to veer to the right. We want to go the straight and narrow path. Okay. This was something that truthfully I had to learn in my season. Okay. Like I had to get it right, because a lot of times complaints will come about, groaning, you start to grieve, where you're coming from. You might not grieve where he brought you out of, or you might be ready and it wasn't just what you expected, right? I've seen so many people say, they entered into their next season or their promised land and it wasn't giving what they expected. So we gotta remain humble. Okay. We gotta be open and in a place of surrender. I noticed the more that I would just surrender, and I'm talking about all the way down to just my thoughts. Like I would sit here and want to think about, well, why do I have to this? And why do I have to that? I would just sit and be still and at peace. And that is when I would hear what the Lord was speaking to me. That is when I would hear those downloads. That's when I would get these phrases and instruction. And I'm saying, okay, I know what God is directing me to do for this day, or what he wants me to do for the moment, right? What he's saying. So the more that you don't ruminate on the past, or ruminate, or even just be upset from a place of like, well, I thought it was going to be this way, right? I noticed the more that you focus on what was, or you kind of just are frustrated with what you see, and you don't focus on what God is got you in. Like you got to press in, right? If he's got you at the table and you're taking this test, get your stuff together. Like get your pen, get your paper ready and say, okay, Lord, what is it that you're trying to show me? Help me to pass the test, right? If you've been in a season like this and you've been suffering, you've been miserable because you've been excited for a new beginning and you're actually walking into your new beginning, but it feels like, this doesn't seem like what I wanted. This seems like, lonely. This seems isolating. My heart is hurting. Just repent. Okay. Get back up. Say, God, I'm sorry. God, I repent. Help me to not despise your process. Help me to understand what is it that I need to learn? What is it that you're doing inside of my life? And thank God, right? We have to have a place of gratefulness in our hearts in order to receive anything from God. We cannot harden our hearts. And sometimes we have to really get a hold on our minds and silence the voices in our minds, silence the thoughts of, well, I just wanted it to be this. And I just wanted that groaning and complaining, the grumbling and complaining. Okay. This is something that the children of Israel, right, are known for. Why it took them so long to get through the wilderness, because of their complaints, because of wanting to go back to Egypt, because of what they wanted. They missed what was familiar, because you didn't see this season, right, before you get to your promise. I hope this could help whomever was watching this video today, and I will see you guys in my next video.